the 9/11 attack happened?
I was teaching here in Freeport High School. Actually, my middle school gen music class, but it was over here.
And what was your first reaction when you first saw everything?
My first reaction probably was shock and like, I can't believe this is really happening. Is this really happening? So yeah, I was pretty shocked.
Aaron here asked you, where were you during those Wednesdays, September 11th coming up? So we're going to ask you, where were you during that?
Oh, well, I was here at work. I was in the office on the opposite side, and at the time we had another dean, Mr. Tallman. He came in and said, do you know what happened? Like, what happened? Oh, a plane flew into one of the towers. And I'm thinking it's just like a little single engine plane. But when I saw the news, it was a jet plane. And when I turned on the television, that other jet hit the second tower.
So how did you feel for the people there at the time?
To be honest, I really didn't have feelings because I didn't know how to react. I was shocked. But other than that, that was it.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so Mr. Weisker, I want to ask you, where were you when 9/11 happened?
I was in 3rd grade at Black Hawk School. Actually, I was at home, but I remember going to school and everybody was talking about it, but I was still kind of pretty young to know exactly what was going on.
If you knew what was going on back then, how would you feel, or how would you respond?
Back then,
Yeah.
if I knew what was going on, probably the same as everybody else. It's a pretty tragic thing that happened. So I know everybody was devastated, and it's still devastating now. Looking back and knowing what happened.
If you had words to say to anyone who may have lost someone close to them in 9/11, what would you say?
Sorry. It's a terrible thing to go through. But just condolences to them and the people that they lost.
At the time of 9/11.
I was across the street at the junior high. I mean, it was junior high then. In 8th grade, and I do believe I was in a science class when this happened. I remember because it was one of our days that we weren't in a lab. We were actually in an actual classroom. So we were just working on work in the class, and the teacher happened to have what was going on on the TV. So at the time, no one really knew what happened when the first plane hit, and so I actually didn't witness that. I witnessed the second plane hitting.
That was going to be my next question.
Oh.
What were one of the things that you thought could have been prevented?
Well,
Looking back, obviously.
yeah, obviously we've prevented a lot of similar things since with some of the stuff that we've put on. I know I fly, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've flown quite often since, and it doesn't bother me at all to go through all of their stuff that they have in place, because at the end of the day, it's for safety. Same kind of thing we tell you guys here. We do some stuff to keep you guys safe. We just ask that you all follow along, kind of thing. So.
Where were you when the 9/11 events happened?
So, weirdly enough, I was right here at school. In fact, I was walking down the hallway and the librarian grabbed me and said, "Oh my gosh, come here, you gotta see this. A plane hit the World Trade Center." Well, I thought she meant like a small little plane, maybe veered off course and accidentally hit it. And when I got in there to see the second plane hit, and both of us just kind of stand there and like, not know what to do.
How did you feel?
Oh my gosh, I was terrified. My kids were in the middle school, and all I kept thinking was, I really want to go home. I really want to get my kids out of here. I want to get my kids, and I want to go home. I don't know why I thought home would be better. But we ended up watching it all day long, so then that fear and anxiety just built all day.
Thank you. How do you feel about the whole 9/11 situation and everything that happened and all of that?
Well, obviously it is a real tragedy what happened. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yeah, I mean, it's a sad thing to think about or to talk about.
And how do you think it affected the United States and even the world? Like, everyone was just, whoa, blown away by it.
Yeah, I think it impacted us negatively, just because there's certain way we look at certain people now. We pretty much like put them all in one category of a terrorist, and we shouldn't be doing that based on what somebody else is doing. That they have different beliefs pretty much, so we can't just categorize one type of person in one category.
Where were you when you heard about 9/11? Saw it.
Oh, 9/11. It was my first year at Stillman Valley and at the school district, and I was coming to teach lessons, 5th grade lessons, and heard it on the radio just as I pulled up that an airplane hit the World Trade Center, and I was like, okay, that's weird. And I taught a few lessons and came into a room, and I saw the buildings fall down, and I watched it the entire time when that happened, and it was just something else that I'll never forget.
And
I'll never forget that day where I was and how I felt and where I ended up going. I ended up going home. My wife didn't even hear about it, and I showed her, and she was just freaked out like crazy, like all of us.
So what would you say to anyone who was affected by 9/11, like lost a family member? What would you say to them?
Oh, I'm deeply sorry, first thing. There is, they didn't die in vain. That's one thing that's one definite thing that I know that happened. And especially when the records came out about one of the planes that was actually a target, and they finally figured out that the members on the plane were the ones that helped save a lot of lives, even though they lost their own. They didn't die in vain. So I always think of that.
Thank you,
Mr. Connors, we have a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, where were you when the 9/11 attack started?
I was in the computer lab first hour because I didn't have class until second hour. And we were sitting in the computer lab, and our principal announced, please turn on your TVs immediately. And when we did that, we saw the two towers, a plane had hit the two towers.
How did it affect the U.S. when 9/11 happened?
Well, it was pretty crazy. Basically, it was something like nobody had ever seen before, so everybody was kind of in a fog, kind of like a panic. I know that Mrs. Connors had a school meeting in Chicago, and there were rumors that there was going to be a plane that was going to hit Chicago, so everybody was freaking out there. I remember all of us were getting gas because we were so worried that we wouldn't be able to get gas or anything like that, and nobody really was talking. Everybody was kind of like just in a daze. It changed America, and it's never really come back since.
Thank you.